we should explain a little bit about the name. It's a Somali name, right? But it's actually a folkloric character.
Yeah, Igal was a real person who lived in the 18th century, and he has descendants in Kenya or many places in Somalia. But at the same time, he was a wise man, and he used to tell stories. And why we chose him is because his stories were more about people having fear. He used to talk about being afraid and then understanding later that it was nothing, or it could be dealt with.
So sort of overcoming fear is a key component
Yeah,
to a lot of the stories.
all his stories about is he's afraid of the dark, he's afraid of a log, he's afraid of a child, a lot of things, a goat. And as time goes on, each story tells you that you could overcome that. And that's the meaning of Igal Shidad here, being significant and attached to health, is that you can overcome health problems if you have the right diet, if you have the right medicine, if you talk to your doctor, a lot of things like that.
Well, and part of the project too is to help educate people within the Somali community about certain issues that they're facing. So in year one, the program talked
about mental health. So each
right.
time there's a new topic, or so people were. The first one was about mental health, and it was introducing people to how mental health, what it is, and what resources are there, and also about how to deal or live with it or deal with it. And it helped a lot of people. And the Igal Shidad character in the story explained all those things.
So, is the concept of mental health something, you know, as people talk about it in the United States, and there's lots of stigma anyway within the broader culture surrounding mental health. Is that a totally foreign discussion to the discussion within the Somali community?
I guess you can say that. I mean, there is the stigma, and as there are many health issues where people suppress, and I guess the whole character thing, it's not only fearing but having phobia of something. And definitely mental health is one that there is a big, huge stigma on it. And the other reason was it was very special to the Somali community, and I guess why it was chosen and became, because there's I guess a board that sits on it and choose the topic, is because of the trauma situation that many Somalis have faced through the civil war coming here. And because this mental health issues of many kinds of faces are seen in the Somali community here in the Twin Cities, and it was very essential to talk about it, although there's that stigma, to really educate the community, you know, that this could happen to anyone, and the best way to help yourself is really not to be phobic about it and not to fear, but rather deal with it and face it.
What kind of feedback is that first year's program received?
It was great. People liked it. At the beginning, they were really not happy that Igal Shidad, someone they loved and children liked it, and it was a character that made you laugh, would be associated with mental health. But it explained something very important. That's what people told us, that in Somalia, mental health was, as you said, was about stigma. It was also how you helped a relative who had a problem with mental health. In Somalia, there were not that many resources in mental health. There were no counselors, no psychiatrists, only few people, and in only big cities. So it was a family matter, and the family tried to hide it as much as possible. If your brother has mental illness, you say he's okay. Don't say that to him. So the word people use the word mad with mental health, which is not the right term actually. It's more mental is more it's a spectrum, more of a continuum, or so that's what the Igal Shidad program taught last year, and people understood it, and it was something significant.
If you're just joining us, we're talking about the Igal Shadad program, which is a co-production of SPNN, KFAI Radio, the Confederation of Somali Communities in Minnesota, and ECHO Minnesota, which has been funded over the course of 3 years with a grant through the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. If you want more information about Igal Shadad, the program, you can go to the website for the New Routes Project, which is takes a look at the health of immigrants throughout the United States. www.newroutes.org has information about Igal Shadad, as well as other programs that are produced as a part of this initiative to be increasing the health of immigrant Americans in the United States. We'll have more information for you about the project as we continue the discussion here with Zahur Ahmed and Saeed Fahia, who are part of the program. Let's turn to year 2 of the project, because this is now year 2, and it's a very, very different topic. The first year was mental health. This year is sexually transmitted diseases. And it seems to me that for some reason the project likes to tackle difficult issues.
The sensitive ones.
Sensitive issues, difficult issues. Well, I mean, and I would say that sexually transmitted diseases in most cultures, frankly, not just the Somali culture, are sensitive for all sorts of reasons. So what kind of challenges does this present? And why take on this topic?
Well, the first reason is it's not only culture, it's when religion gets involved. And every time with the Somali community that the religion gets involved, it gets even more sensitive and more difficult and challenging. Because with sexual transmitted diseases, we know it's transmitted through sexual contact and through multiple partners, and even the whole idea of having sex before marriage is not accepted culturally and religiously. So it's a disease that comes through such thing, and you're trying to, most of the time, and you're trying to educate the community to prevent without sounding like you promoting or you're encouraging having sex before marriage or having multiple partners.
And actually this is an issue that occurs in many communities, because you want to acknowledge the fact
that it's sin, it's wrongdoings, we're not encouraging it, but protect yourself.
But also the fact that it exists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that itself too, because by default, the people would think, in the community would think that you're Muslim, so you're not supposed to, or you're Somali, so this should have not happened to you to begin with.
So how do you get around that sensitivity?
I think in reality, the important thing is that people have to talk about it, because it happens. People die of or are infected with sexually transmitted diseases. So what you do is you go to the sources of or people who are respected in the Somali community. And if they are willing to talk about it, like the imams, like the doctors, like people who have authority in the community or